In today's review, we will continue with the second entry to Peter F. Hamilton's expansive Night's Dawn trilogy set in his Confederation universe, namely the Neutronium Alchemist, which was published in the year 1997. Once again, we are looking at a massive book with 1273 pages, even slightly exceeding the Reality Dysfunction, the first novel of the series. As a direct sequel, the Neutronium Alchemist continues the plot of the Reality Dysfunction, thus sharing similar values with regards to the various semi-objective figures of merit. As a result, the Neutronium Alchemist must be classified as soft science fiction / science fantasy set in a gigantic narrative universe which is further expanded throughout this novel, peppered with interesting concepts and having a long list of relevant main and side characters, which is appropriate for the narrative universe and the borderline excessive page count. Similar to the novel preceding it, the Neutronium Alchemist has no awards nor any award nominations to its name. However, it was able to garner quite some popular attention and support, as evidenced by a combined user rating of 4.3 out of 5 stars, which is based on tens of thousands of reviews on sites like Goodreads, Library Thing or Amazon. As previously mentioned, at the beginning of this review, the story told in the Neutronium Alchemist is a direct continuation of the events that transpired during the Reality Dysfunction. Therefore, you should be aware that the following section of the review might contain major spoilers regarding the Reality Dysfunction. You have been warned, so continue at your own peril. The situation in the Confederation at the end of the Reality Dysfunction was at a pivotal point. The events in the jungles of Lalonde, an otherwise unremarkable colony world, have led to an open interface between this universe and, for lack of a better word, the Beyond. An energistic vacuum where the souls of the dead were trapped for centuries and millennia. More and more dead souls were able to possess the living, gaining tremendous strength, agility, and the ability to create and alter matter during this process. Lalonde, with its underdeveloped infrastructure, lack of importance, and a limited amount of security forces, ultimately falls. Even a quickly deployed mercenary force, who falsely assumed to be facing a revolt of IVATs or involuntary transportees, is not able to avert this fate. The realization dawns on the various human factions that there is great danger inherent to the events on Lalonde, not at least due to the fact that some of the possessed have been seemingly able to avoid detection and have started to infiltrate other worlds and habitats, threatening to repeat what has happened previously. Or so it would seem. Drastic measures are required to quell this infestation, and some factions are more draconian in their implementation than others. Meanwhile, the escape from tranquility of Dr. Al-Qadzu, the inventor of the so-called Alchemist, an incredibly potent weapon of mass destruction, has the intelligence agencies of the various human factions alarmed, since proliferation of this device is the last thing they want to deal with during these chaotic times. If we compare the two first novels of the Night's Dawn trilogy with various well-established genres, we can ascribe to the Reality Dysfunction aspects of a Western, most notably due to the plot on the frontier world of Lalonde, or to a lesser extent the events on the pastoral world of Norfolk, and even because of Joshua Calvert trying to earn a fortune with interstellar trade. Furthermore, darker horror elements took center stage as well, either due to Quinn's actions fueled by his deranged worldview or the emergence of the possessed as an unstoppable unknown, exhibiting creepy and unsettling elements as observed during several disastrous interventions by various intelligence agencies or mercenary forces on Lalonde. In contrast, the Neutronium Alchemist exhibits, due to the ensuing spy game and manhunt throughout several star systems related to Dr. Mzu, a distinctly different atmosphere. In addition, more aspects related to military science fiction are present, both on the ground as well as in space, where the Confederation as a whole and its individual factions start to prepare for the coming crises, either by switching to a war footing and by enforcing quarantines. Unsurprisingly, this is the main reason why the Neutronium Alchemist also exhibits qualities of a political thriller, since the various factions facing this crisis react differently and clash with each other, leading to further conflicts between them. This does not only include the human factions, but also the alien Tyrathka and Kiint, as well as a couple of newly formed organizations established and run by groups of the possessed. Indeed, the chapters focused on these new factions of the possessed are a highlight of the Neutronium Alchemist, offering new perspectives and intriguing antagonists with understandable motivations and goals. Unfortunately, while most of the veteran protagonists and characters are more or less fleshed out in the Neutronium Alchemist, and the new additions are, as mentioned previously, quite interesting as well, some characters still fall flat. A prime example for this is Quinn Dexter, an initially perversely interesting character specifically related to his manipulative nature to gain control of the IVATs on Lalonde, reverts and stays as a one-dimensional, purely evil deranged villain. Similarly, the motivations of Louise, who barely escaped the horrors unleashed by the possessed on Norfolk, to travel to Earth to thwart Quinn's plans, is barely believable, even though she is portrayed as quite naive. Overall, the Neutronium Alchemist competently continues the plot of the reality dysfunction, and it has several surprising plot developments in store for the reader. In the same way that the dangers embodied by the possessed travel from the edges of the Confederation inward, we as the readers are also able to experience the full gamut of communities and societies. From well-organized, technologically advanced planets to barely functioning habitats, further adding to the already exceptional world building. Barring some hiccups related to a few characters, as mentioned previously, I can only recommend the Neutronium Alchemist to anyone who enjoys to get lost in an elaborate, gigantic fictional universe. If you liked this video, you may also enjoy the other reviews and content on my channel. Feel free to leave a comment if you want to discuss the novels or if you want to suggest other books that I should review in the future. Please consider upvoting and subscribing, it is much appreciated. Thank you for watching, and until next time.